From high snow-clad mountains to vast stretches of desert regions, Asia always manages to keep up with the title of being the land of extremes. In our previous lesson, we learnt about the major climate conditions or climate types of Asia, where we learnt about the tundra, taiga, temperate regions experiencing the respective type of climate over the continent of Asia. In this lesson, we'll proceed with a discussion on the major climatic conditions and their corresponding vegetation and wildlife. Now, as we can see on the map, the yellow regions mostly covering the central and southwestern part of the continent comprises of the desert region. Now, while talking of deserts, many of us here immediately think about places that are unbearably hot and dry. But Asia is the continent where we find both temperate, that is cold deserts, and tropical, that are hot deserts. So in Asia, we have two types of deserts, namely the temperate deserts and the tropical deserts. So let's learn about each type of desert and understand how they are different from one another. We can see that the Arabian desert region and the Iranian part here, along with the Thar desert in India, are places that comprises of or fall under the category of tropical deserts, that are hot deserts. However, the region here, which comprises of the Gobi desert and the Taklamakan, usually are categorized under the tropical deserts. So let's see how these two deserts are different from each other. So deserts are landscapes that receive less than 25 centimeters of rain throughout the year. So it is quite evident from this fact that desert regions are areas that receive low annual precipitation. However, as I mentioned a while ago, Asia is home to two types of deserts, namely the tropical deserts that are hot and the temperate deserts that are cold. So to understand the difference between the two, we need to look at the characteristics of each of them. So the first very characteristic of a tropical or a hot desert and a temperate or a cold desert is that while hot deserts are characterized by sand dunes, the temperate deserts are typically rockier regions. So while these areas are sandy and there are sand dunes present in these areas, the temperate deserts are mostly rockier regions with no sand dunes. Secondly, due to less annual precipitation, there is scanty vegetation over the tropical hot deserts. And this scanty vegetation mostly includes thorny bushes and scrubs in only few places. While in temperate deserts, there are mostly bushes and a few trees spread over most regions of the desert. So, bushes and few trees. And these trees are usually found at higher elevations along the streams. Right? Now let us look at some examples that can be categorized under either of these deserts. So, hot tropical deserts could have examples such as the Thar desert in South Asian country like India, the Sahara desert in Africa, and the Arabian desert in the continent of Asia itself. Then on the other side, for temperate deserts, we have the Gobi desert right in the central portion of the continent and the Atacama desert in the continent of South America. So we saw that Asia, which is home to two types of deserts, has a variety in the vegetation and the climatic conditions that prevail over such deserts. So we understood that tropical deserts are hot deserts with thorny bushes at some places, while temperate deserts are mostly covered by bushes and a few trees at higher elevations or along streams. These have sandy dunes, while the temperate deserts do not have sandy dunes and are mostly rockier in nature. So, the vegetation of hot tropical deserts that covers most of the desert region of the continent of Asia mostly consists of thorny shrubs, bushes and clumps of grass. So, this is the vegetation of hot tropical deserts. Now, in such hot climatic conditions, survival becomes very difficult with less of precipitation and no access to good source of water. So, camels are believed to be such animals that store fat in only one spot of their body, keeping the rest of the body cool so that the heat can be escaped easily from the rest of the body. But this is unlikely of other mammals like humans, where fat is distributed almost throughout the body and the body temperature is much higher than that of camels. But the question arises, how do these animals keep themselves hydrated in such dry climates? They do so because they have unique blood cells. These unique blood cells expands on receiving water. So camels that can drink up to 115 liters of water in just 10 minutes, there the unique blood cells expand and contains a lot of water to help them survive in the dry climate regions of these hot tropical deserts. So camels definitely are an interesting animal that are mostly common in such desert regions. Now, other than these camels, we also have fox, lizards in these hot tropical deserts, while yak is an animal which is more common in temperate deserts or cold deserts, right? So these are the animals that have adapted themselves to the harsh climatic conditions of both tropical and temperate deserts over the years. So that was the desert region and the desert type of climate that we find over the continent of Asia. Now, besides those vast desert regions, we also have high mountainous regions in the continent of Asia. Now, here we'll be focusing on the South Asian part of the continent and mostly the Himalayan region. So, what can we learn about or know about the Himalayan mountainous region of Asia? Let's see. Now, the Himalayan mountain system has a unique climate and vegetation. Though it has high peaks that are mostly covered in snow, the foothills of the Himalayas are quite warm. So they experience a warm climate. So the climate and vegetation of the Himalayas changes with altitude. So altitude plays a very important role as a factor that influences the climate and vegetation of Himalayas. Now, though Himalayan region is mostly covered by tropical deciduous forest, but as we proceed higher or as the elevation increases, the temperature falls and the coniferous trees becomes more common. So let us take a look at the characteristics of these two types of forests that prevail over the Himalayan region and see how they are different. But before we proceed with our lesson, would you help me answer this question? Well, which of the following factors influence the climate and vegetation in the Himalayan region? Is it the temperature or the altitude or the air pressure? Well, we just learned that the factor that directly influences or majorly influences the climate and vegetation of the Himalayan region is the altitude. So as we move higher the elevation of the Himalayan region, the temperature falls and the vegetation also changes from tropical deciduous forest to coniferous forest. Now, though the tropical deciduous forest can be characterized by trees that have broad leaves, on the other hand, the coniferous trees are one that have needle-shaped leaves. Now, needle-shaped leaves, why? Because on moving higher, the temperature falls and there the needle-shaped leaves helps the trees to retain moisture and minerals. The second point of difference is the change in color. So, the leaves of the tropical deciduous forest trees change their color in the fall, that is in the winter season. However, the coniferous trees are evergreen and the color of the leaves do not change even during the winter season. The third point of difference tells us that the tropical deciduous forest helps in spreading their seeds using their flowers. On the other hand, the coniferous forests that have needle-shaped leaves, they spread their seeds using the cones. So these are the unique characteristics of each of them that definitely tells us how different they are from one another. And they both are present in the Himalayan region. Now some examples of the trees from each of these forests are as follows. So the tropical deciduous forest includes trees like teak, bamboo, sal, sandalwood, kusum, shisham, kher, arjun and mulberry. While the trees of the coniferous forest includes pine, fir, spruce, cedar, Douglas fir, larch, corys, hemlock, yew and redwood. So these were the difference between the two types of forests that are prevalent or the vegetation that is more prominent in the Himalayan region, and we also looked at some examples. So in this lesson we were able to understand that the Asian continent has an extreme climatic conditions with vast deserts, including both temperate and tropical deserts, and high mountainous region, where we looked particularly at the South Asian part in the Himalayan region, and we understood that there we find two types of forest, that is the tropical deciduous forest and the coniferous forest. In our next lesson, we will continue our discussion on the same and conclude our discussion on the major climatic conditions, their corresponding vegetation and wildlife. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon. You can also register for free at DeltaStep.com or download the DeltaStep app to learn one-to-one with our amazing teachers or to get access to all our 5,000 plus amazing videos as per your school syllabus. Master each topic with our adaptive practice technology. Get million plus questions with step-by-step solutions and unlimited mock test. Get all your doubts resolved instantly. Learn via games and win amazing prizes like PlayStations and iPads. So at DeltaStep, learning is not just fun and easy, it is rewarding too. So register for free now.